Azure Data Factory monitor window lets us to monitor all the pipeline's activities, input, output, error. Apart from that, it is also help us to monitor the health of the integration runtimes. We can also set up alerts and we can also monitor the metrics. Let us run one of the pipeline. Let's say create zip. So I'll trigger this pipeline. When I go to the monitor window, I should be able to see the pipeline execution progress. On this window, there are various columns. First one is pipeline name. Second one is start date, how much duration it took, who triggered it, so was it manual or automatic, status, if we have passed any parameters, annotation. If there is an error, then error will occur here, and run ID. So run ID is the unique ID created for this pipeline execution. This pipeline got successfully completed, so we will not see any errors here. What we can monitor, let us go inside the pipeline. When you go inside the pipeline, the detailed view of all the activities inside the pipeline are visible here. So this is the activity run. So similar to pipeline run ID, which is very random number, we also have a run ID for each and every activity. So the run ID for activity is different from the run ID from the pipeline. So how many activities you will have, those many different or separate numbers you will find under run ID. Here in input, you will see what is the input we have provided. Since we did not provide any explicit inputs, by default, it is a source and sink configuration, which we have done on the UI are visible here. So those are the inputs. So for example, what is the source? So it is a delimited text which resides on the Azure blob. And wildcard name is star, means all the files, etc. things. And what is the sink? Again, it is Azure blob, and we have provided delimited text as a target dataset. Output, once the activity completes, what are the statistics it has? So for example, this is a copy activity. All the statistics like how many files were there at source. So file reads is 4, file return is 1, etc. How many parallel connections were there, how much duration it took, and the other data in output window. This is a graphical UI of output. Let us do one thing. I am going to do something which will cause error. So go to sync and I will make copy behavior as merge file. This should cause an error. So let us debug it. When you debug, the similar view of the monitor window is visible at the bottom. So here also we have input, output, and run ID. So our activity got filled. So this is error. Let me click on this. Here we will find all the error fields. So error code, message, and what was the target from where we got the error. So what the error says, copy behavior is not supported. Since we have mentioned as a zip file at the target and the structure of all the files from the source is not identical, merge file will not be done. In output, you will also see the same errors. So apart from error, how much copy duration, what was your target data type, and all the information will be visible here. I'm going to add parameter. So let me revert the settings and add the parameters. Create new and add dummy parameter here. So I will name it as p underscore dummy. Value is fake. Publish it. Publish. Pipeline is now published. Let us trigger it. So trigger now and provide value fake. Click OK. Let us go to monitor window. Here in under parameters, we are able to see what are the parameters we have passed. So for the p underscore dummy, I have passed a fake value. So in this way, we can view the parameters on the monitor window. We will see what are the other properties. So I will add annotation. This is for training. And inside that, I will also make secure output and secure input enabled. Apart from that, I will also add user property. Purpose, zip file at target. So this is not going to impact your code, but this is for the monitoring purpose only. Pipeline is now published. Let me trigger it. In annotation, we should be able to see what is the text we have provided. This is for training. So this makes support team to monitor and to pick the particular pipeline runs which they are looking for. Let us go inside. Input and output, we have made that as a secure input and secure output. So the input as well as output will not be visible. Even on the graphical view also, nothing will be visible. We also provided the user properties. So the user properties are at the activity level and the annotation is at the pipeline level. Use of these user properties will be mostly when we integrate Azure Data Factory with log analytics, Azure Log Analytics. On this screen, by default, the time zone will be visible. That is your local time zone. You can change it from this time zone field. Let's say if I make UTC, all the times will be visible in UTC format. You can see the history of the pipeline runs from the time field. Only 45 days history will be visible per pipeline. So if you want to keep the history beyond the 45 days, you have to integrate the Azure Data Factory with log analytics. Log analytics I'm not going to cover in this session because that will be a separate topic and which requires high number of hours to learn. On this filter, you can add the filter as well. Let's say pipeline, and I want to check only copy from web pipeline details. Let's say create zip. You can add more filters as well. So in this way, annotation and other fields are used for monitoring the pipelines.